What if I told you that one of the most powerful inventions of the modern world, the automobile, wasn't created by a wealthy industrialist or a genius scientist, but by a farmer's son who dropped out of school at 16? Henry Ford didn't just build cars, he built a future no one thought was possible. And here's the kicker, he failed not once, not twice, but 3 times before changing the world forever. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll not only know how Henry Ford revolutionized the world, you'll also learn how his story can inspire you to think bigger and push harder. Henry Ford was born on July 30, 1863, in a small farming community in Greenfield Township, Michigan. His father, William Ford, was a farmer, and his mother, Mary, was a homemaker. Life on the farm was simple but demanding. From a young age, Henry was expected to help with chores, plowing fields, tending to animals, and fixing tools. But here's the thing, Henry wasn't your average farm boy. He was obsessed with machinery. At just 12 years old, he became fascinated with a pocket watch his father gave him. He took it apart, figured out how it worked, and put it back together, over and over again. That curiosity didn't stop at watches. By the time he was a teenager, Henry was tinkering with anything mechanical he could get his hands on. But his father had other plans for him. William Ford wanted Henry to take over the family farm. It was a stable, respectable life, but Henry wanted more. He didn't see his future in the fields, he saw it in the machines that could make life easier for people like his family. And that vision would eventually take him far beyond the farm. At 16, Henry left home and headed to Detroit, the bustling industrial hub of the Midwest. He landed a job as an apprentice machinist, working long hours for little pay. But for Henry, it wasn't about the money, it was about learning. He soaked up everything he could about engines, tools, and machinery. In his spare time, he began experimenting with his own ideas. One of his first projects was a steam-powered vehicle. It didn't work, but that didn't stop him. He kept tinkering, kept learning, and kept dreaming. By the 1890s, Henry had become an engineer at the Edison Illuminating Company. It was there that he built his first gasoline-powered vehicle, the quadricycle. It was clunky, loud, and far from perfect, but it worked. And that was enough to convince Henry that he was onto something big. But success didn't come overnight. In fact, Henry's first 2 attempts at starting a car company, the Detroit Automobile Company and the Henry Ford Company, both failed. Most people would have given up at that point, but not Henry. He believed in his vision, even when no one else did. And that persistence would soon pay off in a huge way. In 1903, Henry Ford founded the Ford Motor Company with a simple but revolutionary goal, to make cars affordable for the average person. His first major success was the Model A, a reliable and relatively inexpensive car that quickly gained popularity. But it was the Model T, introduced in 1908, that truly changed the game. The Model T was durable, easy to drive, and, most importantly, affordable. Henry's vision was coming to life. Cars weren't just for the rich anymore. They were for everyone. But here's where things get really interesting. Henry didn't just want to make cars, he wanted to make them better and faster. And that's where his next big innovation came in, the assembly line. Before Henry Ford, cars were built by hand, one at a time. It was slow, expensive, and inefficient. Henry knew there had to be a better way. Inspired by the meatpacking industry, he introduced the moving assembly line to his factories. Here's how it worked. Instead of one worker building an entire car, each worker was responsible for a single task. The car moved down the line, and each worker added their part. The result? Cars could be built in a fraction of the time, and at a fraction of the cost. By 1914, Ford's factories were producing a Model T every 24 seconds. And thanks to the savings from the assembly line, Henry was able to lower the price of the Model T to just $260, about $7,000 in today's money. That's less than half the cost of most cars at the time. But Henry didn't stop there. He also introduced the $5 workday, doubling the average wage for factory workers. It wasn't just about being generous, it was about creating a workforce that could afford to buy the cars they were building. And it worked. By 1920, more than half of all cars on the road were Model Ts. Henry Ford's impact went far beyond the automobile. His innovations in manufacturing changed the way products were made, not just in the US, but around the world. The assembly line became the standard for industries of all kinds, from electronics to clothing. But Henry's legacy isn't just about machines and factories. It's also about the way he treated his workers. By paying them a fair wage and reducing their hours, he showed that a company could be both profitable and humane. In his later years, Henry continued to innovate, experimenting with everything from airplanes to soy-based plastics. He never stopped learning, never stopped creating, and never stopped pushing the boundaries of what was possible. So, what can we learn from Henry Ford's incredible journey? First, persistence pays off. Henry failed multiple times before he succeeded, but he never gave up on his vision. Second, innovation isn't just about creating something new, it's about making life better for everyone. And finally, don't be afraid to think big. Henry didn't just want to build cars, he wanted to change the world. Whatever your dream is, remember, it doesn't matter where you start. What matters is where you're willing to go. Henry Ford's story is a reminder that greatness doesn't come from where you start, it comes from what you're willing to do to get there. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs a little inspiration. And let me know in the comments, what's one big dream you're working toward? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep dreaming big and pushing forward. Bye for now.